Hi everybody. Welcome back. It's been 2 weeks since I completed the treatment for my eyes, the radiation treatment, since I completed my third Brighten Your World video. And since then there's been a lot going on. The big treatment issue is that in addition to the tumors found in both eyes, the large one in my right eye and the very tiny one in my left eye, there was a small, very tiny tumor also found in the lining of my brain, and they were able to do treatment for that in one session. So that means I'm officially done with radiation, and it's a huge relief. I kind of want to pause and actually do a little breathing because I don't feel that comfortable just rolling the camera and talking about tumors. It feels kind of like a very jarring way to welcome the people who I'm sharing with to my personal journey. So I'm going to kind of rewind and settle in and kind of reintroduce myself in this moment. As always, when I do that, I kind of track my breath. It's nice to have space. Space for the breath, and space for things to move. I feel a little bit nervous today. I'm a little bit not quite as grounded and settled in as I usually am when I'm videoing, which is usually a great joy of mine. But I want to kind of accept where I am and let myself transition in my own way. I'm watching my hands right now, and they're doing this kind of flowy, wavy thing, which is in alignment with a theme today. I think the title of this video is going to be Oceanic Adventures, because ocean is symbolic of it represents where I'm heading energetically. I've come from such an intense period. I think that's partly why I'm having trouble settling in, because I'm talking about something that was just a couple weeks ago, but there's been so much change, it feels like a lifetime ago. It's kind of shocking because there's been such a transformation in my health and in my body, and in the reduction of tumors and in the lab reports, showing all positive indications. It's been so dramatic after 2 or 3 months of just nonstop stress. It's a lot to take in. So I think you're seeing me a little bit in shock as I try to, how do I hold both of these worlds that I've lived in that have existed in such close proximity? I can just remember, again, 2.5, 3 months ago, finding out that I had tumors in both eyes, and then finding out that there was something in the lining of my brain, finding out I was going to need radiation. I remember not being able to have a bowel movement without going to the emergency room, and back and forth in the emergency room, losing a great deal of weight. Just the amount of trauma and stress was just, ongoing. And then test after test after test, MRI and CT and MRI of the brain and MRI of the eyes. And then going through 4 weeks of eye radiation. It was not exactly a cakewalk. It was Monday through Friday for 4 weeks. And then the brain radiation, which was a little scary for me because actually the eyes and the brain is pretty scary. And then I just and then things just transformed, and it's kind of surreal because things are turning around, and I think I'm still a little bit in shock about that. My weight is pretty much back to where it was before, I ever got diagnosed with metastasized cancer, and my energy is good. But basically I'm just calmer. In my last video, I was dressed in red, and a friend of mine, I don't think he'll mind me using his first name, David, said, red is a powerful color. You're telling the cancer to stop. And I never thought about that. I knew that I wanted to wear a bold color, and it was fun to wear red, and it seemed to fit my energy at the time. And now there's a shifting into softer, gentler energies, flowing, deep, rhythmic, flowing energies. That's what I'm shifting into. And it waves and ebbs and flows like the ocean. And I'm just kind of gently rolling in this wavy, up and down, the up and down is even kind of comforting. Everything is gently being moved, and it's a big shift because the need to be power woman, warrior, fighter of cancer is less. And so now it's like, if I take that veil off, what's underneath? And I think that's what's being revealed today. What's underneath the power Laura is a deeper, it's the energy source of where does power Laura get her power? From someplace deeper. And that's what I'm tapping into, my own true energy source, which is, I'm finding oceanic in nature. Again, gentle waves that move with a certain flow, an ebb and flow, and a rhythm. And somehow through that ebb and flow and through that rhythm, I find the capacity, the wisdom, the power, and the energy to heal. And that's what fuels Warrior Laura. Warrior Laura is fueled by this deeper, very deep, oceanic ebb and flow. And that's what I'm tuned into today. That's why I'm dressed in softer colors, and I'm kind of was feeling slightly disoriented when I was starting this video because it's such a big shift. And the Warrior Laura, crisis, trauma, running to the hospital, can't, pain level at a level 9, tests and tumors growing and radiation and all of that required me to be very strong and a high degree of suffering. Isn't that, it wasn't that long ago. We're talking just a few weeks ago, not even really that long. Radiation's only been over a little over than a week. And moving into this new landscape that's soft and gentle and celebrates vulnerability and integrates another component of feminine, of the divine feminine. Now, the softness is very important. And I think it's interesting because softness of spirit is aligning with softness in the body, meaning I couldn't push here before. You can see I'm proud, it bounces. I mean, there's like a push, like it's like there's a softness here because my body had to physically soften in order for me to heal. And what I'm finding is my soul and my spirit also has to have a corresponding softening. Things can't move when things are tight and rigid and hard. Nothing can move. So I'm a little embarrassed at how much I've talked about my bowel movements. They've been such a pressing theme in my healing. They almost cost me my life. I mean, I couldn't have a bowel movement without having on a scale of 1 to 10, without having a level 9 pain and ending up in the emergency room. So this was not a doable way of life. And actually what happened is they put me on, there was a number of interventions. One of them was steroids, which helped to soften. This is where the liver has always been very enlarged since my diagnosis, and it was getting worse and it was getting very hard. So as this was hard, and then it pressed on my colon, which pressed on my spleen, and then the whole thing, everything was constantly moving, but it was hard and it was pressing. So you can imagine, again, I apologize for all this talk about bowel movements, but you can imagine that nothing can move because it's hard, things are pressing against my colon, and nothing can move. And so I'm in pain and screaming, and I'm rushed by ambulance to the hospital because nothing can get through because everything's too hard. So when things soften, so we soften this, and then the liver's not pressing against my belly, and my belly's not pressing against my colon, and all of a sudden there's space, and all of a sudden I breathe, and there's expansion, and then all of a sudden things move in the colon with ease. I mean, I've now had a month of pain-free bowel movements. I give myself a star every day I have a pain-free bowel movement because it's like a celebration. And it's also an accomplishment of how I've learned to use the tools that are available in a way that will best serve my body. And relaxation and softening were key and essential. There could not be healing without those, without relaxation and softening. And again, it was softening of the body. Like, I love that I can push this, and it bounces back. It's soft. And this is soft, so this is soft. So things can flow and move. They don't get stuck. And again, there seems to be a corresponding softening that's required of my spirit as well, of my soul, of really accepting my vulnerability and what it means to be a human being, because I've chosen life. If I wanted to work in the spiritual, higher, ethereal realms, I wouldn't have chosen life. I don't have to be on the planet to do that. But I've chosen life. So that means I'm here, I'm on this earth planet, and my mission is on this earth planet. And so I need to soften if I'm going to sustain myself here. And kind of the beauty that's through softness, it seems like it wouldn't fit, but there's incredible strength because you're adaptable. You can't adapt when you're like this. Nothing moves. Life comes to you, and you can't meet life. You can't adjust your body, adjust your spirit, adjust your lifestyle to what's coming to you because everything's tight, hard, rigid. So when you soften your body and your spirit, you're given this flexibility that allows you to adapt. So life comes at you, and you can move to meet it. What angle? How can I greet what's coming to me? And there's space and there's movement to adjust to what comes my way. And as it relates to the cancer, there's space to adjust to what comes my way in regards to the symptoms and pain management, which will be my next video, so I don't want to get off track. But so softness and flexibility are big themes right now. And the oceanic waves and ebb and flow that are the deeper underlying source of my true power and my true healing capacities. What we see is up on this level, but it's fueled down here where I am right now. And it's been rather enjoyable to just relax. It's like relax, like what does that mean? You know, go to bed when I want to go to bed, watch TV, sleep. Like, you know, the big joke is I'm always like, why am I so tired? I forget sometimes that I have cancer, which it's a blessing to be able to forget, but it's also important. It's important for me to remind myself so that I am, what's the word? So I'm grounded, so that my responses make sense. If I'm walking around, like, because I forget sometimes that I have cancer, I act surprised that I'm tired. I'm like, hello, you're tired? Like, after what you've just been through to be, I mean, like, tired is like so minimal, and I'm like sometimes act perplexed about why I would be tired. It's unbelievable how easily I can lose my perspective. So it's important it's a blessing to be able to forget, but it's also important to keep my perspective so that things make sense to me. And so I don't become judgmental over something that makes like complete sense. So I'm feeling another urge to pause and kind of check in and see where I'm at and see where I want to go in the next few seconds. I'm just going to close my eyes. I hear the crackling of the fire very, very subtly. That was a big sigh, a big expansion and contraction. And I feel my body, the back of my back and the back of my thighs touching the chair. And I feel my feet crossed. And I feel my right leg, my calf resting on the table. Mostly it's very silent right now. It was just a little bit of the crackle of the fire. And it's interesting because there's just a little bit of crackle of the fire, and it feels like there's this big void because everything is just so silent and still in this moment for some reason. More so than usual. It seems like when I'm making videos, there's always trees blowing and all these other things that I'm noticing, but I'm feeling just the slightest bit of stimulation, the crackle of the fire, and then this massive, I'm calling it a void, I'm not sure. It doesn't seem to have limits, but it's also potential. I think I'm feeling the potential of whatever it is that I want to be, of whatever it is that can be. It's a very, very deep time right now. I think that's why, again, in the beginning, I was having trouble settling in, because how do you get into this terrain, especially, again, when it's so close to upheaval, to months of upheaval. But I'm starting to settle into it. And take one more breath. I'm going to switch gears to talk about my stones today, which are jasper. Well, jasper is the stone, the ocean jasper, but also other kinds of jasper. And I chose again to write a little bit just to make sure that I caught the major points of this particular stone, because it mirrors a lot of what is going on in my body and spirit. So ocean jasper is a unique stone found only in the coast waters of Madagascar. And Madagascar is an island in the Indian Ocean near South Africa. The gem can only be seen and collected during low tide. And in 2006, the last sample from this location was collected, and no new sources have been of ocean jasper have been found at this time. So it's unknown whether or not there will be more ocean jasper, or if the source has been depleted. So ocean jasper is a very soothing stone that aids in loving oneself as well as others. It encourages feelings of joy and helps to release negative feelings. Physically, ocean jasper is said to be beneficial to digestion, digestive organs, and removing toxins. It operates primarily in the throat, heart, and solar plexus. By activating and supporting the solar plexus, ocean jasper assists in helping one use their personal power in the most loving, from the heart, and most effective way, from the throat. The throat is for communication, the heart is for love, and the solar plex for your power. And so if you activate these three chakras, you can activate your personal power in the most loving and effective way. And it's very interesting because ocean jasper has a unique healing properties. It's been often referred to as cellular jasper due to the interesting and unique patterning on the stones. These patterns form organically. It's probably ocean jasper. It's formed by just the waves and being in the ocean. There's other jasper that's not from the ocean, in the desert, in the woods, and other places. They all have these amazing patterns. Some of them look like paintings. It's all inspiring to see what nature has created on these particular stones. And these patterns, like I said, form organically, and they're said to remind the cells in the body of their true healthy nature, because these patterns, they evolved organically through the process of life and nature in its most, without interference, and in the most natural, healthy way that this universe was created to unfold. And when disease takes over, cells can forget their true nature and become trapped in negative patterning. So there's cancer cells in my body. There are less cancer cells, and there's getting less and less. But the cancer cells are trapped in this negative proliferation. They're repeating this negative thing over and over and over again. They're expanding in this negative, not healthy, not organic, not the way they were made to be. And the theory is, by wearing jasper or meditating with it, putting it on your body, you can remind the cells of their true nature. And by doing so, you can assist the damaged cells in repatterning back to a healthy state. I want to clarify, I'm not suggesting that if I hold a jasper cell, Freudian slip, if I hold the jasper stone for 5 seconds, that all my cancer is going to go away. It's more about the theory and the mindset and your belief system and your attitude. This is really what healing's about. And everyone has to find a belief system that feels true to them. But it makes sense to me that a lot of times things just need to be reminded, and that's all they need. So this cancer cell is thinks it's cancer now, and it's trying to multiply and evolve in this chaotic, not healthy, not organic, not the way the universe was set up to evolve. It's in that kind of state. Sometimes you just give it a mirror and you say, this is who you really are. This is how we vibrate here when we're healthy. And again, it's not about me taking this literally, though in some ways I really do, but it's more about the theory and the attitude and the belief system of, what are your beliefs about disease? And do you believe that disease is curable? And what are the elements that are necessary to cure disease? And I don't think there's an answer across the board that fits everybody, which is why finding your soul and finding health is a very personal journey for everybody. But for me, reminding the body of its true nature is a component, a significant component of my healing. And I do believe it has impact. I think the body does respond when you speak to it and you show it. So that is the description of the metaphysical properties of ocean jasper. I want to read the affirmation. I release negative patterning of thoughts, words, and deeds, which may adversely affect my emotional, physical self, and I embrace the many blessings of life. And I'm smiling because I left out an important piece. Yes, you want to shift from disease to health, but that's only half the picture. The other half is I embrace the many blessings of my life. And talk about a source for healing, the energy that comes from gratitude, from joy, from bliss, from satisfaction, from contributing to mankind in a way that feels of value, to laughing, to giggling, to painting, to rebounding, to whatever it is that's bringing me joy, that is also enormously fueling to the healing process, enormously. Pump that through your body and things will start to shift. So it's important to have as much joy as we can. And sometimes that may seem so difficult. And believe me, it has been, I've had many, 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 many difficult days. But the sun somehow always manages to somehow crack through, even if it's just for a split second, to remind me why I'm on this journey and why I continue on it, even when things get difficult. Another breath. I'm going to settle it. I'm going to do another check-in and see how things are feeling. So of course I feel my whole abdomen expanding and contracting with my breath. And the fire has gotten even softer in its crackling. Once I can barely hear it, it's very, very soft. Breath that was a bigger breath, more expansion, more contraction. I'd like to feel my hand, just because it's such a pleasure to be able to expand and contract. I'm still that's joyful to me, to have enough space to expand and contract freely. And again, just this awareness that I feel like that I'm making contact with untapped potential. And I'm not sure what form that untapped potential is going to take. Has not been yet revealed to me, but that's what I'm very aware of in this moment. A lot of untapped, big amount of space that's untapped potential for me to interact with, to both give and receive from, and not sure yet where it's gonna take me. And I think I'm actually getting towards a settling point in this video. Again, I still think I'm in shock. The shift has been so huge and so quick and so dramatic from illness to health. I'm still taking that in, and I think most of you know that, just to repeat some of the things, that tumors are going down in size. I used to be severely anemic, and my red blood cell went up on its own without any intervention. I used to have blood transfusions in order to get my red blood cell count up, and now it just went up on its own. My weight, I've gained at least 12 pounds, and my energy's good, my attitude is positive. It's rather shocking, so I won't keep repeating myself, but I'm still taking it in, and I feel relaxed. And I'm happy to be here in my soft colors, celebrating softness and vulnerability, humanness, flexibility, and the necessity and wisdom of all those elements. And as usual, I give thanks to this force outside of me, way bigger than me, that supports me in my journey and my purpose. I give thanks for the progress that I've had. I give thanks that somehow I found the strength and the determination to keep sticking with this. I mean, it's been over a year now, and sometimes I wonder, why did I keep trying? But every day I just got back in the saddle, even when I couldn't get out of bed. Then I got in the saddle that was in my bed, but I just kept trying. I don't know, I'm a little stubborn, I think. I'm thankful for my capacity to feel joy, to continue to feel joy, even during the rougher spots. I'm grateful, of course, for so many people have made contributions that have all been so essential for me to be where I'm at. It was a learning process for me to take the special gift that each person has to offer, and also recognize the areas where people are not as skilled. I mean, we all have strengths, we all have things that we're good at, we all have things that we're not as good at. So how do I take what each person has to offer me and be least impacted by those things that might not be a good fit for me? And that took me a while, to see each person as human and to be grateful for their gifts and to not be adversely impacted by those things that they may offer that might not be a good fit. And there's just been so many different people and different things that have had to all come together for me to be here in front of you right now, in, dare I say, in this state of health. And so it's not possible for me to list everything. So I just want to say that every element of it, I'm extremely grateful for, and each one has been essential, including who's ever watching this video right now is contributing. Just you're supporting me by supporting my videos, by watching me and receiving what I have to share. So let me see if there's any closing. I think I'll just maybe end reading the affirmation again. I release negative patterning of thoughts, words, and deeds which may adversely affect my emotional, physical self, and I embrace the many blessings of life. And so I'll just end this video to say, to blessings, may we all be blessed with health, joy, love, prosperity, and anything else that we wish to experience in this particular lifetime. Again, to blessings. Amen.